Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 349 based on novel. So let's start. The clothes on his chest were torn and mixed with blood mist, creating a startling contrast with the black palm print. Ju Hai's body was thrown out from the southern courtyard, and strands of vitality were coming out of the dark palm print. It only took a moment for his body to shrink until it was like a skeleton. The vitality that appeared seemed to be moved by a power and entered the injured Origin Sect disciple. His body trembled as the blue light disappeared and he returned to normal. Ju Hai's body landed on the ground with a bang and his face was ashen. His body continued to twitch and fear filled his eyes. The surroundings were completely silent, terrifyingly silent. The Devil Collection Sect's Zhao Yun gasped and shock filled his eyes. He stared at the southern courtyard and retreated several dozen feet. He didn't expect the Grand Uncle Master of the Origin Sect to be so powerful. Thinking about his frivolous words where he teased Li Yanfei, he felt his scalp tingle. It wasn't that he coveted Li Yanfei, it was just that his personality was like this. In addition, all the rank 5 sects they had encountered had been very polite and respectful and allowed them to do as they wished. The Origin Sect had such a powerful cultivator. Feng Peishan's pupils shrank and his expression became serious. Someone who could seriously injure Ju Hai this easily had to be a powerful old monster. Who gave you the right to hurt the people of my Origin Sect? These cold words echoed across the world. They didn't contain law, nor were they earth-shattering like Feng Peishan's words, but these plain words were like sharp blades that stabbed into the hearts of Feng Peishan, Ju Hai and Zhao Yun. Just like the silence, these words contained a terrifying pressure. The rustled sounds of footsteps came from the southern courtyard as Wang Lin slowly walked out with his hand behind his back. He didn't have white hair, now he had a head of black hair that moved without any wind. He gave off a sense of might without being angry and his eyes were like the stars. When you looked at them, you would feel like your soul was being sucked into the illusion of true and false. This kind of feeling was very strange, and no one could explain it, but they clearly felt it. It was as if everything in the world could change at a thought. True and false formed a cycle. Dao domain. Feng Peishan's face turned pale. He had the highest cultivation level here and was also a core disciple of the number 1 rank 6 sect, so he immediately recognized that this Grand Uncle Master of the Origin Sect was using Dao domain. What made him even more terrified was that the other party wasn't deliberately doing it, but Dao was naturally contained in his words and actions. This realm was far higher than word of law. Their Dao spell sect focused on the word, Dao. In Feng Peishan's memories, only the head elder of the sect had a Dao domain like this. When he stands there, he is Dao. Feng Peishan subconsciously took a few steps back and thought about the words the head elder once said. You? Wang Lin calmly walked next to the struggling Ju Hai. He looked down as if he was looking at an ant. Ju Hai's body trembled. When he subconsciously looked at Wang Lin's eyes, his body trembled even more violently. He entered an illusion, as if the person who hurt him was the world and he was merely a weak existence within that world. His heart pounded like crazy and his mind was a mess. He couldn't see through the cultivation of the person before him, but at this moment, he felt like none of the elders or even the sect head of his own sect could make him feel this terrified. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze as he looked up at the Devil Collection Sect's Zhao Yu and calmly asked, "Or was it you?" Zhao Yu subconsciously licked his lips. He looked at Ju Hai struggling on the ground and then at Wang Lin. His expression suddenly became respectful. Junior Devil Collection Sect's Zhao Yu greets Senior. This Zhao Yu immediately clasped his hands and became extremely respectful to hide his fear. However, he didn't dare to look at Wang Lin's eyes at all. Or was it you? Wang Lin's gaze fell on the Dao spell sect's Feng Peishan. Feng Peishan's face became pale as he respectfully clasped his hands and whispered, "Senior, please forgive us. Earlier, you said that if they stopped you from hurting my Origin Sect disciples, we have to suffer the consequences." Wang Lin coldly looked at Feng Peishan. Sweat came out from Feng Peishan's forehead, and he didn't dare to look at Wang Lin's eyes. He had a feeling that if this person became angry, he would perish in an instant. After pondering for a bit, Feng Peishan clenched his teeth and his right hand mercilessly hit his chest. With a bang, his body trembled and he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. His expression became even more pale and his origin soul was injured. Feng Peishan didn't wipe away the blood on the corner of his mouth, and he bitterly said, "Does this appease Senior's anger?" Wang Lin's expression remained neutral, then he looked at Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu wryly smiled. Since Feng Peishan didn't dare to provoke this person, how could he dare to? Moreover, he didn't even see how this person had attacked and seriously injured Zhu Hai. Even if he had tried to resist, it would have been pointless. Zhao Yu clenched his teeth as he lifted his right hand and mercilessly hit his chest. He coughed out blood as he retreated a few steps and clasped his hands. "Please don't be angry, Senior." This scene made all the Origin Sect disciples very excited. They all looked at Wang Lin with reverence. Li Xiangdong and company were the same. Wang Lin calmly said, "You all can keep searching." "No need," Feng Peishan quickly spoke, but before he could finish, Wang Lin interrupted him. "After you finish searching, quickly get the hell out of the continent of Molu." "As you order." Feng Peishan wryly smiled. He knew that their actions had already angered the Grand Uncle Master of the Origin Sect. The reason he hadn't killed them was because he was concerned about the sects they were from. If Teacher finds out that we offended an old monster who has a Dao domain, it will be difficult to avoid punishment. Even Teacher wouldn't easily offend such a powerful cultivator. Not to mention seriously injuring Zhu Hai with a wave of his hand. If he wanted to kill Zhu Hai would already be dead. Letting out a sigh, Feng Peishan remembered what his teacher said before he left. His teacher had once said that there were many people above him and that there were many old monsters hiding out there. There had to be a few living in the rank 5 sects. Many of these rank 5 sects had inheritances for many years, and there might be a few who left early but had heaven-shaking power. Although these people would not be famous, if they encountered them, they had to be careful. This was why they had to politely explain and not offend them if they met such an old monster during this search. Feng Peishan respectfully left, but after pondering a bit, he still searched the continent of Moluo carefully. After finding nothing, all the disciples gathered and left with him helping support Zhao Hai. It wasn't until they left the barrier that Feng Peishan and Zhao Yu let out sighs of relief. As for Zhu Hai, he swallowed some pills and recovered enough to fly. His expression was still pale and there was a lingering sense of fear in his eyes. Feng Peishan said, "Fellow cultivator Zhu, please try to describe in detail how that senior attacked after you entered the southern courtyard." Zhu Hai still felt lingering fear in his heart. After silently pondering for a moment, he said, "That senior's cultivation is at least mid-stage Nirvana Shatterer or higher. I didn't see him attack. The moment I entered the southern courtyard, I felt an unimaginable origin energy gather into a palm, and it landed on my chest." After saying that, he looked at his chest. The palm print was still black. Zhao Yu suddenly asked, "Is it a poison attack?" Zhu Hai shook his head and said, "That senior didn't have any sign of using poison to attack, so it can't be that poisonous old woman. Also, she doesn't have this kind of strength. I also secretly observed the members of the Origin Sect. Their reverence and sense of glory was not false, that person was indeed their Grand Uncle Master." "That's true." Feng Peishan nodded and said, "If that person was really related to the poisonous old woman or knew about the matter with the jade, then he simply wouldn't have acted and would have remained hidden. It would be easy to do so with his cultivation. He wouldn't have hurt Zhu Hai or made Zhao Yu and I pay a price." Zhao Yu nodded. He thought about what happened and said, "This Grand Uncle Master of the Origin Sect is too powerful. Even in the rank 6 region, he would be someone everyone paid attention to. Fortunately, he only hurt someone and didn't kill him." Otherwise, as he spoke, he looked at Zhu Hai. Zhu Hai silently pondered, and his heart turned cold from fear. "Earlier, when we were coming here, we saw the people of the Purple Dao Sect coming this way. They seemed to be heading to the Origin Sect and there seemed to be a grudge. It seems Lu Yunsong is going to be kicking a metal plate." Zhao Yun smiled and seemed very happy at someone else's misfortune. "That person is not simple." Feng Peishan seemed to be unwilling to talk about this anymore and said, "Forget it. The three of us should be more careful in the future. Let's go to another continent." The three of them took the disciples of their sects and flew off into the distance. It is not easy for someone to catch head elder's fancy. This Lu Yunsong's origin also seems very mysterious. Inside the ray of light, Feng Peishan shook his head and stopped thinking about it. Wang Lin's gaze withdrew from the horizon. He had already made up his mind when he attacked. He was in a rush back on the wild continent. Although he had shifted the blame for what happened, he had still left some clues. He was unable to clear those clues and didn't have time to clear them. More importantly, the more he tried to clear them, the more clues he would have left. The most important thing right now is to raise my cultivation level as soon as possible. If I get found out, I'll take a trip to the Wind Celestial Realm. From the memories of the old poisonous woman and the records of the origin sect, he learned that the Wind Celestial Realm was open. The entrance was in the northern part of the Rank 8 region, but almost no one dared to venture too far inside. They merely gathered some treasures along the edges. The Wind Celestial Realm is my ace for killing Sen. Coldness appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. The reason he paid so much attention to the mutation skill in the old woman's memories and risked trying it out was because once it succeeded, his change in the Wind Celestial Realm would be a lot higher. Wang Lin placed more restrictions on the place where he was doing the experiment. Unless someone more skilled in restrictions than Wang Lin came, it would be impossible to find the place. Also, he only needed a thought to destroy everything inside, so he wasn't afraid of others finding out. There was a giant spirit beast that was about 3,000 feet long moving within the star fog of the Rank 5 region. This beast looked like a tiger, and it had a single horn more than 100 feet long that emitted a cold glint. There were more than 30 people sitting on the back of the tiger. They were all calm and were cultivating with their eyes closed. There were men and women among them, and they gave off fluctuations of their cultivation. There was a man standing beside the tiger with the horn. This man was middle-aged and wore a purple robe that moved without any wind. He had his hands behind his back as he looked at the star fog ahead. No one knew what he was thinking. There was an old man respectfully standing behind this man, accompanying this middle-aged as they both stared ahead. The old man softly said, "Sect Master, with the tiger's current speed, we will arrive on the continent of Molu in one more day." These people were the cultivators of the Purple Dao Sect. Normally, it wouldn't have taken them this long to arrive, but due to the matter of the jade and pill recipe that led to the invasion of the Rank 5 region, they had to delay their arrival to the continent of Molu. After dealing with everything and cooperating with the Rank 6 sects, the Purple Dao Sect finally sent people out to the continent of Molu. The middle-aged man's gaze fell on the star fog ahead as if he was thinking. After a long time, he nodded and calmly said, "There will finally be an answer for things that need to be settled." The old man was startled and didn't understand the meaning of what the Honorable Sect Master had said. In his view, this will be a simply trip to the origin sect. What answer is there to obtain? Sect Master, the old man was about to speak, but the middle-aged man shook his head and said, "You don't understand. Chaos will rise, the cloud sea will no longer be calm." The old man silently pondered. In order to get a pill recipe and jade, not only the Rank 6, but even Rank 7 and 8 sects all sent cultivators. Is it worth it? The middle-aged man seemed to be talking to himself. There was a sense of worry in him. The old man whispered, "That pill recipe and jade are worth too much. It is inevitable people would be moved. That pill recipe is an ominous item. The first time it appeared, it caused a calamity in the Cloud Sea. Now this is the second time it has appeared. I just don't know who took it. The longer it is out there, the greater the calamity will be." The middle-aged man shook his head and let out a sigh. The old man hesitated for a bit and whispered, "According to the investigation, it was the 5 poison sect's old poisonous woman who took the pill recipe and jade and went into hiding. Don't underestimate those old monsters of the Rank 6 sects." The middle-aged man faintly smiled. The old man was startled. After he pondered carefully, he questioned, could there be someone else? If it really was the poisonous old woman, why does the 5 poison sect still exist? The middle-aged man's eyes shined with wisdom. He slowly said, "How can that poisonous old woman withstand Shalorshing and not be found considering her cultivation level? How would she able to kill the Clear Flower Sect's Noble Money while escaping?" Noble Money was a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. Who could kill him in the short period of time before the second wave of Clear Flower cultivators arrived? The old man gasped and his mind trembled. It took him a long time to recover, and terror filled his eyes. The Clear Flower Sect's Noble Money was killed. He was evidently unaware of this matter. Poisonous old woman can't do this. Only the person who really obtained the jade and recipe could have such strength. That person must have been forced to kill Noble Money. Presumably, when leaving the wild land, that person encountered Noble Money and aroused suspicion and then was forced to attack. The middle-aged man revealed a look of admiration and pity. He has vicious methods, decisive actions, and he cleanly killed Noble Money. Also, before that, this person quickly transferred the target onto the poisonous old woman's back, creating a layer of fog to gain some time. By doing so, he was able to confuse the rank 6 sects enough to escape their blockade before it was set up. Even if I were to change positions with him, I fear I'd be unable to do all of this. More importantly, this person's scheme is very deep. I don't know if he has another reason for framing the poisonous old woman. If he really saw through the truth and only then framed the poisonous old woman, then this person's mind is like a devil's. The pity in the middle-aged man's eyes became even stronger. The heart of the middle-aged man pounded rapidly. After pondering a bit, he was still somewhat puzzled. The middle-aged man didn't turn his head, but he seemed to be able to clearly see the doubt on the old man's face. He softly said, "If the rank 6 region successfully obtains the jade and recipe, then it will be a good omen. However, if they found the jade and recipe but lost it, then it will be a disaster for them. What they need is an explanation. An explanation to the rank 7, 8, or even 9 regions." The old man seemed to realize what happened and was filled with disbelief. His chest puffed up and down as he said, "So that's why they allowed the 5 poison sect to continue to exist and are also convinced it was the poisonous old woman. Even Noble Money's death will be seen as the action of a powerful cultivator of the 5 poison sect." The middle-aged man smiled. Then he spoke softly as if he was talking to himself. "This mysterious cultivator is smart and gave the rank 6 sects an excuse. No matter what happens in the end, with this explanation, their disaster will be a lot smaller. Why else would there be no Nirvana Shatterer cultivator among the search squads? There are merely Nirvana Cleanser cultivators searching for a mysterious person that can kill a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator in less than 7 minutes. If I were the sect master of one of the rank 6 sects, I would probably even help the mysterious cultivator erase all clues. That way, only the 5 poison sect would be destroyed." The old man beside him was completely shocked. He looked at the middle-aged man with a gaze filled with reverence and dread. There was even a trace of fear in his eyes. He had followed the middle-aged man, Lee Chien Mai, for many years and had seen him go from nothing to the peak. The Purple Dao Sect was only a small sect in the rank 5 region 3,000 years ago. However, in this person's hands, it was now very formidable. Although it wasn't the strongest in the rank 5 region, the name, Lee Chien Mai, was known to people in the rank 6, 7, and 8 regions. I really want to have a meeting with this mysterious cultivator. I have a hunch that I will meet this person one day. The middle-aged man's eyes were filled with expectation. He had his hands behind his back and looked like a mount in the eyes of the old man. The old man silently pondered. Time slowly passed. The tiger broke through the star fog and moved faster and faster. When they were only half a day from the continent of Molu, a flash of blue light appeared in the distance. This blue light was strange as it penetrated the fog and even made the fog blue. The tiger immediately stopped and revealed vigilance. There was even a trace of fear in its eyes and it began to growl, but it didn't dare to move forward at all. This sudden scene suddenly caused the more than 30 cultivators to open their eyes at the same time. They calmly stood up and coldly stared ahead. There was unexpectedly no sign of panic. This was because they were the cultivators of the Purple Dao Sect, the core disciples of the Purple Dao Sect, and direct disciples chosen by the sect master of the Purple Dao Sect. They had pride. They could die or defeated, but they couldn't panic. Even if a mountain collapsed before them, they had to remain calm. The old man beside Lu Yunsong became serious as he looked at the strange, blue light. Only Lu Yunsong wasn't affected at all. He calmly looked at the fog as if nothing had happened. The blue fog spread and soon surrounded the surrounding 10,000 feet. A moment later, the blue fog parted and a beautiful woman walked out. She had a head of blue hair and a white dress. Her exquisite expression wasn't as cold as ice or gentle, just quiet and elegant. There was jade flute in her hand. She was like a fairy that had descended upon the mortal world. As this fairy gradually appeared, the moment she fully revealed herself, the blue fog around her turned corporeal and became a 10,000-foot-long blue dragon. This fairy was standing on the head of the blue dragon and calmly looked at Lu Yunsong. There were no fluctuations in her eyes, they were pure without any impurity in them. It was like a calm lake that was intoxicating. When one saw those eyes, no matter how tyrannical they would calm down. There would also be a sense of inferiority in their heart. Lee Chien Mai. Lu Yunsong still had his hand behind his back as he looked at her. Although he was shocked by her elegance and beauty that was almost like a domain, his expression didn't change. Rank 9 Heaven-breaking sect, Lee Chien Mai. The old man beside Lu Yunsong took a few steps back and was on guard. He immediately recognized the woman because she was the only woman with blue hair in the cloud sea, Lee Chien Mai. Chien Mai greets Brother Lu. The woman smiled and bowed slightly toward Lu Yunsong. Lu Yunsong smiled and clasped his hands. Fellow cultivator Lee is too kind. Brother Lu, Chien Mai has 3 questions to ask. I hope Brother Lu can resolve my doubts. The woman smiled softly, and she looked even more serene as he spoke. Along the way, she had asked many people the same questions. Everyone who answered were among the elite, but none of them were able to give her the answers she wanted. She had only asked one of the 3 questions as no one was able to make her ask the second, much less the third. Please speak. Lu Yunsong nodded. The woman softly said, the first question, what is heaven? Lu Yunsong looked at Lee Chien Mai. After pondering for a bit, he slowly said, heaven is a cage. The woman frowned slightly, but it was very alluring. A moment later, her eyes lit up and she revealed a smile that was like a blooming lily. Brother Lu's answer is very interesting. Chien Mai wants to know why heaven is a cage. Lu Yunsong smiled. Is this the second question? The woman moved her blue hair and softly said, no, this is still the first question. Can Brother Lu answer? For the frog in a well, the opening of the well is the heavens. For fishes in water, the water is the heavens. The well is the cage for the frog, and the water surface is the boundary for the fishes. Lu Yunsong looked at the woman and calmly said, humans are like the frogs and fishes, so heaven is our cage. The frog wishes to leave the well and the fishes still desire to jump out of the water. Humans naturally also want to break open the heavens and walk out from the cage. Lee Chien Mai thought for a moment, then her eyes became more bright. There was a look of admiration in her eyes as she moved some of her hair behind her ear and said, Brother Lu's answer is very unique. Chien Mai asked a lot of people along the way, but only Brother Lu was able to resolve my confusion. Chien Mai flatters me. Lu Yunsong faintly smiled. Brother Lu is the first person who has made Chien Mai ask the second question. I hope Brother Lu can continue to answer my questions. Lee Chien Mai looked at the man before her. She had heard that the rank 5 region had someone famous named Lu Yunsong. He was very intelligent and had a deep understanding of Tao. If I answer your 3 questions and solve your doubts, what reward will I get? Lu Yunsong smiled as he looked at Lee Chien Mai and waited for an answer. Lee Chien Mai blinked and smiled. If Brother Lu really can answer Chien Mai's doubts, I can play a song for you on my flute. Okay. Lu Yunsong let out a smile and looked profoundly at Lee Chien Mai. He was still puzzled on the real reason why she was asking these questions. Lee Chien Mai looked at Lu Yunsong and softly said, the second question, what is heaven? The old man beside Lu Yunsong was still listening. When he heard his lord answer the first question, he smiled, But when he heard the second question, his expression became strange. Lu Yun-sung frowned and began to ponder. This time, he pondered for far longer than before. Lee Chien Mai wasn't anxious as she quietly waited for an answer from Lu Yun-sung. After 15 minutes, Lu Yun-sung slowly said, "Heaven is a road." Lee Chien Mai thought for a moment and softly asked, "The reason?" Lu Yun-sung raised his head and looked up. After pondering a bit, he said, "Heaven is under our feet and is a road for us to walk on. It is because of this road that there is Dao. Dao means this, it is a road that leads us to the direction of breaking out of this cage that is heaven." Lee Chien Mai's eyes became even brighter and the admiration in her eyes became even stronger. "Thank you, Brother Lu, for answering my questions. I feel much less puzzled now. I wonder where Brother Lu is going in such a rush." The old man beside Lu Yun-sung hesitated a bit before clasping his hands and asking, "Fellow cultivator Lee, is this the third question?" Lee Chien Mai just silently smiled. "I'm going to the continent of Molu to learn something and ask for an account." Lu Yun-sung's expression was neutral and there was no regret in his heart, even though he knew he wouldn't have the chance of answering the third question. Lee Chien Mai blinked and softly said, "I wonder if Brother Lu would mind me following." I naturally welcomed Chien Mai to come with me. Lu Yun-sung smiled and nodded. Along the way, Lu Yun-sung and Lee Chien Mai were quietly talking to each other and exchanging their Dao. They admired each other very much and gained a lot. The old man was still a few steps away. His gaze would occasionally fall on Lu Yun-sung and Lee Chien Mai. There was some strangeness in his eyes, but also a hint of joy. After the sect master's wife died, he never had another Dao partner. Although this Lee Chien Mai from the rank 9 sect has just met the sect master, she seems to get along well with him. If the two of them can form a Dao couple, with the sect master's wisdom, his future will be limitless. Then my Purple Dao Sect will be able to shake the cloud sea. After Lee Chien Mai left the heaven-breaking sect, she hardly had conversations like this. No one else was qualified to talk to her aside from Lu Yun-sung. No wonder even teacher praised this person as the #1 cultivator in the rank 5 region. Even the God sect is paying attention to him. He is indeed a rare and strange man. It is very rare for someone his age to have such a deep understanding of Dao. Even though my cultivation level is higher, I'm inferior to him in his regard. Unfortunately, even a person like this was still stopped by the second question. Lee Chien Mai sighed in her heart. If Chien Mai wants to find the mysterious cultivator who has the jade, it will be a difficult matter. Time passed as the two talked, and they gradually reached the subject of the jade and mysterious recipe. Lu Yun-sung didn't hide his thoughts, and there was no need to hide them, so he told her his speculation. If this mysterious cultivator has such a scheming mind, then it will indeed not be difficult to find him. After Lee Chien Mai heard Lu Yun-sung's speculation, she gained a hint of interest toward this mysterious cultivator. Acts decisively, mind like a demon, and ruthless in killing. I don't admire many people in my life, but this mysterious cultivator can be considered one of them. As Lu Yun-sung praised, the pity in his eyes increased. Lee Chien Mai softly said, "This is all Brother Lu's speculation. Maybe the truth isn't like this. I hope my speculation is true so I have a chance to meet him. That would give life some excitement." Lu Yun-sung let out a sigh. There was expectation in his eyes. As everyone moved forward, they got closer to the continent of Molu. At this moment, they could vaguely see the shadow of the continent of Molu. The tiger slowly stopped and floated in space. It coldly stared ahead. Lu Yun-sung looked at the elder beside him and calmly said, "The Purple Dao Sect and the Origin Sect have the same main sect. There is no need to cause too much confusion. I'll go by myself and all of you wait here." The old man nodded in agreement. "Chien Mai, let us go together." Lu Yun-sung faintly smiled, and his gaze fell on Lee Chien Mai. Lee Chien Mai nodded and the two of them flew toward the continent of Molu. The old man looked at the two disappear and softly said, "Maybe the sect master and her can really become a Dao couple." Continent of Molu. Wang Lin had experienced the power of the pills of the Cloud Sea. After trying out the pills and comprehending through the beast souls inside, Wang Lin had grasped the essence of these pills. To borrow the beast soul to comprehend the heavens and then merge it with your own domain. Wang Lin was sitting inside the courtyard and had refused Lu Yanfei and company's visit. He held the rank 8 pill in his hand and began to ponder. There is a flaw in the pills of the Cloud Sea. The comprehension gathered from the beast souls is very chaotic and difficult to comprehend. If one wants to extract the desired comprehension, they have to keep consuming pills for it to succeed. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin was looking at the pill in his hand when he suddenly noticed something. He looked up into the distance. They came. His expression was neutral without the slightest change. He withdrew his gaze and continued to look at the pill in his left hand. Shortly after, the door of the courtyard was opened by someone and a man and a woman walked in. The man was middle-aged and wore a purple robe. He gave off a sense of majesty without being angry and his eyes were like the stars. They contained endless wisdom. The woman beside him was extremely beautiful with skin as smooth as jade and as white as snow. There was a jade flute in her hand and she gave off a very elegant feel. The arrival of those two didn't attract the attention of any origin sect cultivators, as if they had appeared out of nowhere. The moment they entered, the middle-aged man's gaze fell on Wang Lin, and his pupils shrank. Then he slowly walked over. His speed wasn't fast, but every step he took landed with Wang Lin's heartbeat. It seemed to contain a certain law and naturally gave off an unspeakable pressure. What was even more strange was that as the man closed in, the sky darkened after a dozen or so steps. The dark clouds covered half the world as he moved forward, and the dark clouds seemed to be devouring the sky. Sit! Wang Lin still hadn't raised his head. Wang Lin was surprised about the fact that these two could find him here without anyone in the origin sect noticing. He only said one word, but at this moment, the middle-aged man's footsteps paused. It was as if the rhythm he had set up with those dozen steps was messed up, making him unable to distinguish between true and false. It was as if everything that had happened before had collapsed with a thought from Wang Lin. Lu Yunzong's expression immediately became serious. This feeling was very clear. He had clearly spread out his cultivation and domain and surrounded this man in white. Those steps he was taking were his domain, and each step should have been a domain attack. As he moved forward, his domain merged with the world and his Dao turned into the dark clouds, giving him even more momentum. These dozen simple steps were him borrowing the might of the heavens and descending on this ordinary-looking man in white. If it was someone else, just these dozen steps would have been enough to collapse their domain and seriously injure their origin soul. If the injury was more serious, it would have left a mark on their Dao heart and caused their Dao foundation to collapse. Even if someone could resist, they would still reveal a sign of resistance. Lu Yunzong was very confident in his own domain and Dao, but at this moment, he was moved due to a simple word from this ordinary-looking man in white. This one word had disintegrated everything he had set up, as if everything he had done was not real. Why not sit? Wang Lin raised his head. His gaze moved from the pill and looked at the man in purple. Their eyes met. It was as if an invisible thunderclap had exploded within this courtyard, and the middle-aged man in purple was greatly shocked. He subconsciously took 2 steps back and his expression changed greatly. As he retreated, the dark clouds in the sky were all torn apart and disappeared in an instant. The sky was clear once more. No matter how deep and profound Lu Yunzong's understanding of Dao was, how could he compare with Wang Lin? Wang Lin had comprehended the life and death cycle after 500 years of cultivation, and after more than 900 years, he completed his life and death cycle, which then changed into karma. Then, after more than 1,000 years, his karma was complete and transformed again into the domain of true and false. What could Lu Yunzong use to compare? What qualification did he have to compare? He couldn't compare. Lee Chien Mai was watching this from the beginning. She had come with Lu Yunzong because she admired his understanding of Dao and had goodwill toward him. She felt that among the junior generation, no one had a deeper understanding of Dao than Lu Yunzong. This was also the reason why Lu Yunzong was being watched by the high-rank sects. However, her mind changed when she looked at Wang Lin, and her eyes shined brighter than they had ever shined before. Brother, I have 3 questions I'd like to ask. Can you answer them? This video will end here.